Hey, good morning. This is Mayor Valensky with Driving Markets, driving while talking about markets. Okay, so the markets essentially have peaked. So they've moved up to a really high level. And what we're looking at now is a wave that's about to roll over. If you imagine, as I said to many people, that the big surfers that are riding waves in Hawaii and Australia, they try to catch these small waves, then comes a mega wave, and then when it breaks, it comes thumping down. And that's essentially what's happening in the US with the S&P, the Nasdaq, and the Dow, and especially the Dow. The Dow is really peaking and needs to roll over at some stage. It will roll over. And when it does roll over, it's going to come crashing down. The numbers coming out in the US are suspect, to say the least. You've got like GDP, as I mentioned last week, at 5.2%. Very unusual that a Western developed country has such a high GDP. It's not an emerging market, and it's not a startup country. It's not coming out of the pandemic, so it's got no reason to be at 5.2% unless the numbers are manipulated right in time for the election. The Fed will have to bail out the regional banks. Household debt is at an all-time high, so that's also impacting or will impact financial markets. And what you're going to have defaults rising, starting with credit cards because they're the first thing to go, and then rising throughout the rest of the financial system with car loans, and also you're going to have sorry, someone said accident. So you can have car loans and mortgages. All of them are going to go into default at some stage in 2024, and that's going to put significant pressure on the Fed. What they're going to have to do is they're going to have to reduce interest rates, and they're going to have to start printing a whole lot of money to bail out. The regional banks themselves are heavily invested in US Treasuries, so you can't have a situation in their case where US Treasuries prices collapse, but as the yields fall, then the prices of those bonds do rise. That could be a savior for the regional banks in the US. This week you've got a big jobs report out. You've got JOLTS, which is a job opening labor turnover survey. That's a big one, job openings. So that's going to come out on Tuesday. On Wednesday, you've got the ADP, auto data processing, which is a survey of 400,000 workers and their pay slips and how the industry and the economy is doing. And then on Thursday you've got jobless claims. Remember, if jobless claims are lower than expected, then markets will drop, because that will cause the Fed to maintain its high interest rate policy. Then on Friday, you got the big one, which is the non-farm payrolls. Again, last month came in at 150,000, expected to come in at 190,000. This month expected to come in at 160,000, but those numbers also are pretty fictitious. As I said last time on the broadcast, the numbers are made up: third of government jobs, third ancillary jobs, and a third are actual productive jobs. Remember, GDP and production is based on what you're producing, the country is producing, not what the government is spending. So that's more or less it. But I do expect markets to fall. Gold has shot up, by the way, dramatically up to 2,084. Seems no end in sight. Oil's come down simply because there is a suspect of a recession, believe it or not, and excessive production. So there's excessive production in oil, even though OPEC is going to cut 2.2 million barrels as of last week. The US produced 5% more oil than anticipated, which is unusual, strange, because Biden said he's going to cut back on oil production in the US, but they produced 5% more than was expected. Bitcoin has gone above 40,000. It's hedging towards 41,000. As I said on my Instagram, I expect it to go to 45,000. A lot of energy and a lot of interest in Bitcoin. So the crypto sector is moving up. However, coming to 2024, I do expect a significant downfall in equity markets, which I've been saying for a while. They're completely overbought, and you should stay short and don't get pulled in by this hype. This is Mayor Valensky with Driving Markets. You can catch me on Instagram. You can share, you can subscribe, you can comment, and you can also see my books on Amazon. Catch you later.